Okay, tap, tap, tap. Is this thing on? Hello. And welcome to stream number 73. I am working on the very beginnings of an online game. And it's not going to be looking like a game for a long time. It's mostly back-end server-side stuff. So if you're seeing this on YouTube and you don't care about server-side stuff, that's okay. Skip around another video, maybe come back in a month or so, and I'll be maybe actually working on some gamey things, some game stuff. So let's see. This is the second day I'm actually working on code live on the back end. And 2 streams ago, I did a brief talk about why I was gone for about a month, doing research and kind of pivoting from working on web stuff to actually applying the web stuff to make a game. So I will probably just wait until I get some viewers into the channel who are asking what I'm doing. Maybe until then what I'll do is I will test out some commands. So I have this command and also today. And yes, so there's a link there to see this page. There's also a link below if you're on PC or whatnot to more information. All my notes are in OneNote, so the plan for today is to try to get the coordinator, which is a component of my server, to connect to other servers if it's not already connected, and start work on achieving server coherence. So that's just a fancy word that means that the servers will all agree on the state of the game, and we'll choose a leader, which is the server designated to make the final call on changes to the game state. So it all sounds really cool, and the algorithm that I'm going to try to apply is called Raft. It's called the Raft Coherence Algorithm. It has a really fancy name. So I have links in my notebook to it if you're interested in the details. But it's easy enough to describe really high level, as you have many copies of your game server, and they all talk to each other, and they have like an election system to figure out which one should be the leader. Once picked, the leader is the one that makes the final call on making changes, and is also responsible for distributing those to the other servers so that they all keep in sync about what the game state is. So, don't know if we'll get all this plan done today, but I want to at least do this part where we have them, the coordinator component, actually try to make connections to other servers. Because yesterday what we handled was the reception of connections. And yeah, once we get it to do the sending of connections, we should be able to run them all at the same time and have them talk to each other, so it should be kind of neat. So let me get right into it, unless there are any questions. And yeah, by the way, I have some new stream overlays that I worked on a bit last night. So if we get follows or hosts or raids, we should get some interesting graphics and sound on stream if I did everything right. If I didn't, I'll look like a fool, but that's fine. Maybe learn something today. All right. So I have this convenient mark here for future streams, so that's where we're going to begin. So this one actually, yeah, these two we can do right away without having to do connections. So let's do that first. So this, for those of you watching now, what you're looking at is an outline of my unit tests. I use test-driven development, where in order to add a new feature or to fix a bug, I first write a test, verify the test fails. Either it's reproducing the bug or it's demonstrating the feature doesn't exist yet. And then I go fix the test by either writing the code for the missing feature or fixing the bug. Run the test again until it passes and move on. I use the Google test framework. So you'll see test_f if there's a fixture. A fixture is just a class or structure that has some common setup and teardown methods and other convenience things, whatever you want all the tests to share in common. And usually you'll see an include of gtest.h to pull in the Google test framework. So what it looks like when you run it is this. So you get a little print statement for every time a test is run and for when it passes or fails, and at the end you get a total. And what's kind of cool is you also see how long each test took to run, And I also use CMake, and one of the cool things about CMake is it integrates with tests like this. It allows me to type something like ctest J18. Now it's going to run in 18 different subprocesses, all of the unit tests. So it kind of gets to run in parallel. And you can, just a really top level thing, you can see that all the unit tests for all my code still passes. So that's really neat. Most of the time, though, I'll be concentrating on one test suite like that. And I'll probably even be applying a filter like this. So for example, the test I'm about to run has ignore in the title, so I'll just put ignore, and then it's just running those 2 tests there, and that kind of lets me, focus in on the tests that I'm dealing with. Of course, I always have to unfocus and run all the tests later to make sure that adding the new feature doesn't break some other feature. So, without further ado, this test says ignore instance connections from self-instance number. So what that means is an instance, which is the server, the copy of the server that's running, should ignore any connections from other instances that claim to have the same number as themselves. So as in, like, it was, the server was accidentally duplicated. So we'll just, each test both represents a use case and also kind of documents both what to expect from the code and how to use the code. So in this case, it's more like what we expect to happen in a erroneous use case, so to speak. So I'm going to take the code from another test, just to kind of leverage it. So like this. So this code is accepting a connection from another instance. So we'll begin with that. Oh, if you're watching and you have any questions, please put it in chat, and you can tag me, like put my name in the message, and that might help me see your question. I'm still training myself to keep an eye on chat so that I don't lose track and have to go back and spend time catching up. And I don't want people to feel like they're being ignored. So if it doesn't seem like I'm responding to you, you can always, send me a kick by tagging me in a message like this. If I just say this, hey, read my last question, you dummy, then I'll get a little audio chirp and it'll force me to look over to the side. I'm like, oh, sorry. And hopefully after many iterations of that, I will train myself to do better. So, okay, so recently I've been having success in organizing unit test cases into 3 sections, and I'll explain what that is. So there's arrange, act, and assert, and you might have seen this before. It's a pattern. I didn't invent it. I picked it up somewhere. Don't remember where. The idea is that first you arrange, or you set up the things you're going to test. So you won't see any checks here. It's just doing things to get set up. Then you'll see act, which is do the thing. So the perform or cause to happen the use case or action that you're testing. And here, if it has a return value, which this does not, if it had a return value, I would do a direct check to see if the result was what I expected. Then assert is you're checking all of the side effects. So for example, in this test case that I copied from, it was sending data into the coordinator and checking that the state of the coordinator updated correctly. So these macros like expect, and sometimes you'll see assert, are doing a comparison or a check, and if it fails, it will mark the test as a fail. Expect will continue. Hey there, Romania hate. If you use expect, but it fails, it'll continue going through the rest of the test case, but still mark it a fail. If you use assert, it's more assertive. It's more saying if this doesn't pass at that point, you got to stop. I try to avoid that. I use expect because I kind of want to see if there are multiple failure points. And hey, it's going pretty well. Yeah, with expects, I'll see multiple failure points, and that's good. If it doesn't make sense, like let's say is orchestrator identified had to be false, otherwise it didn't make sense to check all this stuff, I would turn this into an assert false, just to avoid confusion. Yeah, so Romania hate, I've just started back up. So this is, you were here yesterday, right? Day 2 of my resurrection in Twitch, I guess. where I'm working on my backend server. So today I'm focusing on getting my server instances to connect to each other. And if I have enough time, I'll get some of the consensus algorithm implemented. Is assert good to check for null pointers? Yeah, that's exactly where I might check it. I probably have them if I search here. The assert. Oh, none in here. But whoops. If you, yeah, most likely if I use an assert, it'll be to check if the pointer is null, because if it's null, then it's no point in dereferencing it, right? So hey there, Bud. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. It's kind of hard to use the rights clause for everybody, right? So how's it going, guys? I am a little bit confused right now. So yeah, I worked a little bit last night on some nice little stream events overlays. So let's see how that goes. I enjoyed making them, so I hope that they get triggered. And oh yeah, so yeah, about my YouTube channel, I don't get a lot of views, at least not yet in Twitch. So my idea was upload them or export them to YouTube before they expire on Twitch. And that way there's two reasons. Someone who catches me, let's say on stream 73, and it's like, well, because I have this notebook, and let's say they see something, like a good example might be when I worked on hash functions. When did I do that? That wasn't too long ago. Interesting. I don't see it. Okay, but let's say someone's interested in transport layer security. They'll say, okay, it's stream 53. Then they could go back on YouTube and watch that one. That was one thing. Also, I had some family members who were like, I can't keep up, but I'd like to watch them later. So yeah, YouTube was a good way to do that. So, right, so I had copied this use case, but we want to change it so that we use the instance's own instance number, and we expect the instance to ignore that connection. Oh, the React one is funny because I hadn't used JavaScript in years. I had never used React except to toy around with it, and so I was really fumbling through it. And probably that'll happen again. And it's going to be a while before I look competent in React. But I do want to use it. I plan to use lots of JavaScript stuff on the client side because I want the client for my game to be in browser. And by the way, I have a command for anyone who's coming in new that kind of has a link to the information about the game, and also today has a link. Oh, it's not a link in here, but okay, I need to put it in there. I have a link to today's notebook page. WebAssembly. WebAssembly? I don't know WebAssembly. And you know, one thing I've been doing lately is when someone mentions something I don't know, I like to put it in my notes so that I look it up later. Whoops, that was not the right thing. I lost my clipboard, I think. Pays text only there. I will keep a note for later, look it up. So yeah, I don't know WebAssembly yet, so I obviously didn't take it into consideration, so I'll have to go back and look at that. There we go, so Stream Elements has the daily link. I need to put the daily link in the today command, actually. WebAssembly supports C++ in browser. That's tempting. Actually, I think I used too much C++. I rely on it too much. So another reason I wanted to use JavaScript is it forces me to branch out and use another language. Yeah, so on the server-side stuff, it's pretty much all C++. And that may or may not be a good thing. All right, so the difference in this test is we wanted to report the same instance number. This is the instance number. This is our own instance, and this is the instance that the other guy is saying that they are. We want them to be equal, and what we want that to cause is that... Actually, what should we do? We should probably just drop it. So this is irrelevant. We'll remove that. Yeah, we're going to keep this one that we expect it to be... there's no unidentified connections because we'll simply drop it, right? It won't remain unidentified. It'll just be discarded. So we get the connections, and we want to assert that now there's actually no connections maintained. Right, so build that, and obviously... Oh, interesting. Can't find condition variable? Ooh, I might need to wipe out the build directory, and that points to a tool chain issue. So let me go do that really quick. So I'm gonna wipe out the build directory like that. It's busy. Okay then. Probably need to quit VS Code. Busy? Why is it busy? There we go. It just took a bit of time. And you can see my awesome Hawaii background while that was happening. All right, so it's going to start up and then reconfigure. It's kind of nice in that it automatically sets things up. I bet what happened is actually, I don't know. Usually I would expect that to happen if I updated Visual Studio toolchain and then the CMake cache was out of date. I will definitely look into WebAssembly though, because I look into everything I don't know, and I'll let you know. Let me remind myself about that. All right, configuration done. Let's see if we actually get a build. This is weird. I don't remember seeing this stuff before. Oh, you know what? It's not using Ninja anymore. Interesting. I probably want to have it use Ninja, don't I? So that's probably want to stop it because it's well, no, it's still doing it in parallel. I guess we'll keep this for now. I think it's using MS build now instead of Ninja. I wonder if something changed in the C-test plugin. And getting lots of warnings. Actually, that's probably a good thing. I'm getting warnings I wasn't seeing before. It's actually in libraries that aren't mine, but anyway, I don't want to get too distracted. I wanted to see that can still build and that I can verify my unit tests broke because of the new feature I added, or the new feature we're adding. Actually, it should be in my history here, right? Interesting. Oh yeah, that's right. It's using MS build, so now it's going to be debug/test, isn't it? No, test/debug. That's going to screw me up a little bit. I might want to go back to Ninja. But anyway, so there's what I expected to see. So the number of connections we're holding onto is 1, but it should be 0 because we should be dropping it. So let's go fix it. So I think the correct thing to do. Why is it saying this? What if I... That's interesting. I wonder if that has to do, again, with the toolchain setup. Don't know what happened. Anyway, when we receive a message and it identifies itself as a Realm server, right now we're just simply accepting it. So I think what we should do is here have a check. If... well, we can get the instance record... No. I want to get the instance number first. So const.auto instance number. Yeah, so if is our own instance. So that, where did we store that? Did I even store that? Our own instance number? I did, but I didn't. I need to move it now so it's shared with the callbacks. This aggregate properties is a structure that's shared with the callbacks so that I don't have a problem of life cycle issue. The callbacks, if they can live longer than the coordinator, but these properties, anything in these properties has a superset of the lifetime of the coordinator plus all of its callbacks. So I moved it there. That's going to break a few things, but that's okay. So let's just go back to where I wanted it. It's here. If it's equal to coordinator instance. Well, it's simple enough to just return, right? Make sure that that fixed it. Yeah, I want to go back to Ninja because that's way too much output. Oh yeah, I broke this, didn't I? Instance. Actually broken. Oh, right. I moved this. that move to aggregates instance. This is just way too chatty for our build output. I don't like it. I like the Ninja better. Okay, so we're done with that feature or that test. So that's optimally the length of a development iteration for me. Is each test I like to be one small use case. Hopefully the smaller the better, because then it's easier to read and easier to code, less code here. And I wanted the cycle to be pretty quick, so that was what, maybe 10 minutes? That's a good iteration. So that gives you an idea of how I work on this stream and in general. So let me know what you guys think. If you think it's kind of weird, this test-driven development, or you don't like it, that's fine. Okay. I think before I move on, I want to fix the toolchain issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to blow that away again. Actually, before I blow it away, I'm going to try to tell this thing to change toolchain. I think it's configure kit. Select a kit, okay. Interesting. So how do I tell it to use Ninja instead of... What does this do? Yeah, it's not using Ninja anymore. It's using MS build. See if I can see the command that yeah, it's this build engine. I think that's MS build. Quick search maybe. And I don't want to do too much research on stream. Why is that still open? Close some of these guys. That should not be up. Okay. New window, please. Let us search. VS Code. Configure kit Ninja. Windows. Preferred generator, okay. Okay, let's try that. So that's settings. There we go. So let's say we prefer Ninja. Let's see if that does anything. So select kit. It's still not doing it. Maybe the problem is it can't find Ninja anymore. I might have screwed things up. I might just have to live with this for now. Okay, one more thing I'm going to try. We'll totally blow away that directory again. Okay. And open this again. Oh, no, I want to see... I'm not seeing the... Oh, hold on. That's not what I want to see. Yeah, that's what I want to see. Okay, so what is it doing? Gah, I can't grab the scroll bar. It keeps scrolling me to the bottom. Yeah, I don't know what happened. But I bet this is going to continue to use the... Yeah, okay. I think I'm going to give up on this for now. It's sort of frustrating because it was doing the right thing up until now, and now it's just saying to use the MS build instead of Ninja. Grr. Okay. We'll just let that go in the background, I think. And go to the next test. It's just going to bug me about all this stuff now. Yeah, that might get in my way if the IntelliSense isn't working. Although it's finding it just fine. It's just bugging me about it. I don't know. All right. Ignore instance connections from out of range instance number. Okay, this is almost the same. Actually, let's break this into 2 tests. So there will be negative, and then out of, oh, actually, I just leave that, and then negative. Because I like to have separate tests for negative numbers, because you never know when a negative number could be squashed or wrapped around to make a large positive number. Oh, hey, there are multiple pixels in Sourcify and Rally Monkey. So yeah. Saying before that, I'm still training myself to monitor chat, and I'll know when I'm doing a good job when I don't have this moment of, oh, I missed 3 minutes of chat. Okay, so ignore instance connections from out of range positive number. So that's easy. We just make it a 2. And we'll expect the same kind of thing. It just gets dropped. And while we're at it, we'll make the one for the negative numbers. I see your hi. You guys are saying hi to each other. That's great. Maybe if I arrange my chat window just within my peripheral vision, I'll notice it scroll, and that'll be good enough. Okay, so -1. Okay, so yeah, this is bugging me that it's not using Ninja. I'm gonna keep saying it's bugging me until I figure out what I did wrong. Right. So it's actually passing the negative number 1, which I didn't think it would pass that one. But this one I did expect to fail. Let's look at this one first. That's easy enough. I knew that would fail. Is this like it's a recursive hi? All right. It's out of range. So we'll just add different cases of where we want to ignore new connections. So it's either it's an impersonator or it's out of range. So instance number is greater than we have a configuration, right? It's in our configuration. I think this might be another thing I need to move to the aggregates. Yes, here's the configuration. So take that out of the main properties list and put it into the configuration. Actually, I'm going to fix up the places where I just broke it before I go any further. So I'm in a few places, not too many. Okay, so greater than or equal to, because it's counting from 0. Coordinator, configuration. I'm drawing a blank. Let me cheat and look at the configuration structure. Right, it's realms, and then the realm we're in, and then servers. Realms. Oh, and now I need to know what realm we're in. And that's here, so that needs to move. I'm getting a feeling that everything's going to eventually move out of the impl and into this aggregates, which will maybe force me to rethink at least the name of this structure, aggregates, because it's going to make all this code longer. Oh, that's just because it's not complete. Okay, so it's then it's the realms. The realm we're in, and then servers. And then it has a method get size, So that's the number of instances. That's kind of ugly to read, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to break this out. Let's call it config. Let's use the word config everywhere to keep track of it. Oh, thanks for the follow, Skyfox. And look, notifications are working. You get to see all my hard work last night. So, let's do it one step at a time. So this is servers config, right? So let's just make it easier to read. I will just break it up even more and call this realms config. I can go one step further, I guess. And this is the realm config. One step further would be all realms. And I should probably just be smart about this and use a reference, and just because I don't need to copy my configuration. Yeah. What do you think, Skyfo, about the notification? I'm honestly interested in people's feedback because it's brand new notifications. I was aiming for something, you know, not so long and obnoxious for followers, and then some more interesting and grand and loud things for like hosts and raids and stuff. And yeah, so we're picking apart the configuration one layer at a time. First we go to the realms, that's our realms config, and then, oh, I need to reuse that, don't I? From realms config you go to the actual realm that the server's a part of. Oh yeah, you did so when you're off stream. Yeah, I was hoping that when I started streaming it would process those between streams events, but it, oh, hey Nod, Zane following again. Did you unfollow and then follow again? That's fine. The stream elements I thought would queue those things up, but I guess it didn't. Sorry, feels bad, man. So realms config is all realms, then our realm, and then the servers in our realm, and then we can just count them. And if it's greater than or equal to, because they starts with instance numbers start with 0, it's out of range, so we should ignore it now. It doesn't trigger it, so you weren't following me before? Well, thanks for following. But you're like a regular here. In fact, such a regular. You are now a VIP, so congratulations. I am going to now test to see that should make this test pass. Yay! Problem is, I don't know why the negative instance number passed in the first place, because I'm not checking for a negative number here. Actually, probably, well, hold on. It could be that, no, it's coming back as an int. Let me look, maybe I messed up the test. You didn't hear the notification? The sound played. It played for me. Did it not play for you guys? Now I'm worrying. I need to actually be watching my OBS at the time to see if the sound gets through. Oh well. So you did get it to trigger once somehow, even though it's not supposed to. That's interesting. Oh, you heard it, but it was delayed? I don't think a sub counts as a follow. I never really stopped to consider it. I don't see why you would sub and not follow, though. So I would assume one's a superset of the other. So, okay, so why is this actually succeeding? How would I get some insight into that? It should be parsed as a negative number when it comes out here. So it should have been kept. Oh, maybe it's because I think I might know why. No, that's not why. I don't know. Maybe I should step through it and see. So let me arrange this right. So negative is probably a good keyword, right? And this will be a test to see if debugging is screwed up too. You can sub without being a follower. You can even get gifted sub without being a follower. I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay, so I have a launch configuration set up to run these tests, but I will really want to just run one test. It's all one argument, so this should just run the one unit test. And then I can set a breakpoint here. Let's set it right. Yeah, we can set it right there. And run! Oh, yeah. It's this difference between Ninja and MS Build. MS Build puts in the variant into the directory, so it's going to be test debug / realm server tests. Why would they force the user to be a follower though? Well, maybe I just don't understand what follower really means. The follower just means well, obviously it goes towards the follower count, but it means like when you click on the streams you follow, it's in the list, right? I guess it's possible you might want to donate to a streamer, and one way to donate would be subs, but you don't care to like have them show up in your list. I can see that. Can IVP while speaking? Yeah, I think so. But I'm following the lead of other streamers I've seen, and the way they treat it like it's almost like a ranking. I could try it. There, now you're both. There is a limit though, I learned. I can only make a certain number of people VIPs. Okay, so let's try this. Didn't even hit my breakpoint. I'm so sad. Even run the test? Don't think this is working. I don't think my breakpoints are working. Oh, well, hold on. Let's put it in the test. Okay, so maybe the problem is it's not even getting into the code. Oh, that's right. This is 2 characters, and I didn't count it, so it's not even accepting the message as valid. So that's what it is. It's the WebSocket layer will reject this message if this byte contains the length. Yeah, so this bit me. I should have gone through. I thought about this yesterday. I should have gone through and remove all this weird encoding stuff and just had 2 WebSockets, one to do the encode and the other one to do the decode. So then we don't have to worry about this mess. Maybe I'll do that next. So there, that should allow it to fail correctly. That sound weird? Allowing the test to fail correctly? It didn't. Let's see why. And make sure I have a breakpoint there. Let's just go. Okay, it does get in there. Oh, I think it's... No, actually I don't know. Let's see what happens. What is the instance number? -1. All right. It is returning. Hold on. Am I not getting something? Oh yeah, you lost your mod icon. So did I unmod him by mistake? There, I fixed it. So, I must be missing something really simple, because it's obviously not equal. It's obviously not greater than or equal to. So, why did it get to the return? I don't get it. Rerun. No, that's not rerun. Rerun. Go. Let's move this down to here. Go. Let me step in. Get size. What is the size? It's not... Yeah, I can't really see what it's returning. I would have to put in another variable. I'm assuming it's returning 2. Because this server's config should be... how do we best look at it? Add it here. It'll show up as an array, and so if I look... Whoops. If I look at array value, it has 2 things in it. So it'll be -1 is greater than or equal to 2. That's not true. What am I missing here? That's 2. Okay, let me... This is really... It's one of those days, you know, where things that you just assume would work don't. Num servers. We'll just break it up. Why not? Makes it even easier to read. Did I not build last time, maybe? Could be something as dumb as that. Okay, yeah, I don't need that anymore. Go. Okay, yeah. That's not true. That's also not true. Why is it returning? Oh, you know what it might be? It might be that this is a size t, it's unsigned. And so it's trying to promote that? What if I force it to be int? Although I would think that the size t would get promoted back down. You know, it's probably giving me a warning about it. I'm just not seeing it. Yeah, look at that. It's actually telling me what I'm doing wrong. Okay, no, that one I did on purpose. That one I did on purpose. So what if I... Better way would have been to do... Come on, give me the... There we go. Would be to make it auto, but make this int. Okay, now do you have any problems for me? No problems. All right. A bit hard to see the in-chat overlay. Oh yeah, you're right. Well, I'm not sure where to put it. Where do you see my... Yeah. You can't even really see my mouse very well, actually. Where would it make sense to put it? Maybe off to the left? Yeah, it's sort of a problem for me. I could make it... If I made it not transparent, it might cover some code, but I don't know. Maybe that's okay. More opaque, yeah. So just making a note. Okay, but dude, this should... There we go. So it's... Am I not understanding the rule, or not remembering right the rules of promotion of numbers? If this was a size t and it's comparing it to obviously an int, I thought that the int would be the size t would be promoted to an int so that we don't lose the sign. But maybe I'm wrong. Oh, maybe it's because size t is larger number of bits. No, that's okay. What I'll do is, like I just did, I just copy to look at later. Or bigger, brighter letters. That's another good one. I wish that there was a better way to paste other than right-click, find that little button, keep text only. Okay, so I think what it was is this is returning a size t. It's more bits than an int. Actually, they should be the same number. I don't know, but it's a promotion rule thing. So really what I want it to be is I want that to be a size t. I mean, that always is. But I wanted this to be a size t. Thing why I did int there is I don't think I have a direct conversion to size t. Yeah, see, it tells me that there's no direct conversion. So it's a problem with my JSON library, a shortcoming. I have to say, hey, I want the int conversion, and then I want you to, hey, make it a size t for me. So that'll end up making it a huge positive number, and that will end up hitting that. So I don't really need to check for, obviously you don't need to check for a negative number because it's always positive, which is fine with me. So there we go. I'm just gonna let the overflow handle it, so negative numbers get made into huge positive numbers, and then move on. Actually, that's sort of bad though, isn't it? I'm really on the fence with this. Let's go with int there and then cast this to int on purpose. Just that this will fail and I'll have to have a less than 0 check. See? So I'll have to add an or. Probably add it here. This will be more obvious that I am not allowing negative instance numbers. So you might ask, why don't I just say that the JSON has to be a positive number? Like in, I lost it. In this? No. Sorry, I'm not here. In this JSON message, make this that it has to be an unsigned. If you look at JSON's specification or whatever, there's no way to say that it has to be a positive number. It's just number. It could be negative. So I have to kind of allow a negative number to be parsed. And so I think it's just better to recognize that, yeah, that it always is an int. And so I don't want to just squash all negative numbers to be huge positive ones, because who knows, someday on some machine it might not do it that way. Instead, I'll take something that I know is always positive, force it to int. The only effect of that is we might lose 1 bit, but the idea of size t is that it should be many more bits wide than you need. So it's okay usually to squash it to an int. And then we have to add the, check if it's less than 0. Make your own format. JSON's venerable and widely used, so I think I'm gonna stick with it if that's okay. But yeah, I could use my own format. I could make my own format. All right. Done with this. Although it irks me to have to use MS build for now, I think I'm just, I'm gonna make a big note here. Okay, this was all part of that thing. So figure out what happened to cause CMake tools. Well, I don't like it when it does that either. To switch from Ninja to MS build. I wonder if Ninja somehow got changed or taken out of the path and CMake tools can't find it. I'll look into it later. But yeah, I want to do a check-in here. Before I go too far, check in early and often. So, oh, you actually found a bug? Was that the same one you linked earlier? Yeah, it is. Let me look at that now. The problem for me was it always was using Ninja before, and something changed, and I don't know what changed. Yeah, see, this is like something that happened last year, so it's not something that happened to me until now. I mean, it did not happen until today. So like something either changed today in their side or my side, or I did something by mistake. Possibly in environment issues. So yeah, maybe my environment variables got screwed up. I'll bookmark that. Thanks for that. I did see that you posted it earlier. Look at that. We'll look at that later. Oh, was there something in that specific comment? Did I miss that? Come on, browser, open it for me. It keeps opening a new tab in my Yada window, which is narrow. Oh crap, I did it again. I don't want to scroll after opening it. It was the comment about, have you deleted the build directory completely? So that's what I did do pretty early, and that didn't fix it. Yeah, I'll try that later. Because actually, I don't know. I don't even remember where I have Ninja. If I even had it separate, I thought maybe CMake came with it, or CMake tools came with it. Yeah, we'll look at that later. Okay. So coordinator. Don't accept connections with invalid instance numbers. It barely squeaks by the limit, so don't accept negative numbers. Don't accept numbers out of range of the configuration. There's actually one case where we do need to accept that, and it comes into play when you do a configuration change while doing the raft consensus algorithm, but it's pretty advanced and I'll handle it later, I think. So don't accept the same instance number as the self, or as the server's own. Okay. Oh, I do that occasionally. I forget to stage it. Stage all the things, and I really don't need to push it. I'm gonna get that warning again today, and I forgot to look into that. Did I not note that yesterday? I did note it. You know what it was? I looked into these, and I haven't yet gotten to these yet. To make is it too ridiculous if I say finish looking at yesterday's notes? I'll have a chain of those from day to day after a while. Anyway. Okay, here's where we're gonna get into some more active stuff. Instead of receiving connections, we're actually gonna make connections. And so that's gonna be a little bit more involved. We can do it though, right? So, oh, wait a minute. Before I do that, I think I do want to clean this up. So I guess this would be classified as refactoring the test. So actually, where's the first mention of mask? Here it is. So I think the way I want to do this is we have two WebSockets and the connection goes in between. So it would be, let's rename this to server WS? Or how about WS server? And then we'll have another one client. I'll have it in the order of from client to server. So, it doesn't really matter the order here, but we'll tell the client to open with that same connection, right? No, this is not going to work. Well, no, it'll work, but I have to redo my mock connection. So yeah, this will work. I just have to redo the mock connection. Right now, the mock connection, when it gets data, it just stores it, and then it relies on the test to actually send. So instead, we have to link the two together. Anytime it receives data, it should just immediately send it to the other guy. In other words, kind of sort of like looping back. Although, we can't do a loop back because then both of the WebSockets can't. Both of the WebSockets will receive the same data. It's going to get confused. I guess I do need two connections. So, connection client, and then we need a server, connection server. And I guess we need to link them together, so here I'll call it. Right, and this is client and that's server. All right, so now we just need, so this act here, instead of actually doing all this stuff, we would simply tell the client to send a text, and that text is this data. And then we can get rid of all this setup. A lot simpler, huh? Problem is now I have to rework my mock connection too and have pairs of connections. Yeah, so let's do that. So let's make the peer. Where should I put it? Here? It's going to be a shared pointer to another. I guess we can tell it it's a mock connection. Probably do need to do that. This is the other end of the connection. Of the mock connection. In other words, each of these connection objects is just one half, and you have to have two of them to form a complete pipe in this pretend network. So we're going to rework this so that instead we won't actually store. Where do I store the data? This WebSocket output, we won't store that anymore. We're going to keep the delegates, but send data, what it will do is it'll just call the peer's data receipt delegate. Well, yeah, we'll just have to make sure the peer is always not null. I'm not going to do a check because this is just in the mock. It's all test stuff. Just assume it's been set up. Data, right? Oh, and this broken by WebSocket, we're going to remove that too. We're going to call the other guy's broken delegate. Clean. It actually makes the mock a bit simpler, doesn't it? Oh, that becomes an arrow. Actually, that's going to break all the other tests, because I'm going to have to rework all the tests to look like that. So I should be able to build it, but I'm going to focus on making sure this test passes, and then I'll refactor the rest of the tests. So that's orchestrator identified. Ooh. When it does that, it means it completely crashed, like a hard crash. So that shouldn't have done it. That shouldn't have been it. Maybe I need to run through this and see where a crash happens. Yeah. This guy. And we'll see where it crashes by what line the program stops on. Interesting. It didn't crash. Okay, I don't get it. Is it it might be crashing in the destructor. I'm curious about how though. Bad function call, yeah. And this debugger isn't very good at showing me that, so I'm going to switch to Visual Studio. I still have that directory here. I just need to run the solution, I think. No, well, I can just do cmake dot. And then I can run the solution. As soon as it's done. There we go. So we jump into the Visual Studio. The Windows only better debugger. The only thing about VS Code that I really can't get around is some of the debugging stuff is missing. All right. Just want to put in here the filter. Oh, I already forgot what it is. This one. Okay. So just go and it should break when it hits that exception, I think. Sometimes you have to go to exception settings down here and tell it to also stop on any thrown exception. Because if you have something that catches the exception, yeah, okay, so that happened. It caught it, and I need to go in here and say, I want it to also stop on C++ exceptions. This is the thing that's missing from VS Code. Okay, so yeah. Broken delegate is null. Oh, you know what? That's because the coordinator never sets it. Okay, so that's easy enough to fix. At least I don't think I said it. You saw a handmade hero that... Oh, at handmade hero, there's some guys that want to make debuggers for C++ better than the Windows one. That'd be a challenge. Because I haven't found a debugger yet that's better than Visual Studio. I know that's extremely opinionated, but I don't think I'm the only one who thinks that. The debugger is just awesome on Visual Studio. Okay. Yeah, so I'm setting a text delegate, and I am setting a closed delegate. Setting a text closed delegate, but that's... Hold on. Okay, I'm not understanding the problem. This should have been set. Let's actually see where it's called. So it's set to something, and the other one sets it to the other. So they're setting it on each other. It's actually set multiple times. Ooh, who set it to null? Ooh, I forgot I did that. That would be a problem. I think I did that to avoid cycles, where you destroy a WebSocket and... Yeah, I think that's because the delegate that it sets captures something that would be destroyed by the destructor. Okay, so that just means I need an extra check in my unit test. Before I call it, I have to check it for null. I should just do the right thing here and check it in both places. I like to do early return for that kind of thing, just in case you add more code that talks to the peer. I think that ought to fix it. Everyone says that their debugger is best. Yeah, it's true. You got me on that. So I'll qualify it and say that I've had my best experience has been with Visual Studio. Okay, I didn't fix it. Interesting. I thought I fixed it. Let's try and see it here. Okay, we don't need that anymore. Eh. Okay, I think I might know. Let's try this again. Whoa. I hit go and did it change context on me and I didn't notice? Try it again. Oh no, it's just it's recursing. Oh, they're destroying each other. That's what's going on. Okay, yeah. Oh, duh. I didn't check the correct thing. I'm just stupid. It's not that that's null, it's if that is null. Okay, and then really it's only for that call, so I'll reverse it and put that inside the body. There we go. I'm just being dumb today. It's like a balance of tool chain issues and me being dumb. It's one of those days. Okay, cool. Now it's a different kind of exception. Great. This one I should see here, though. Or not. Okay. Back to this debugger. On, close. Interesting. This is a bug in WebSockets, I think. Connection. See, it got past that early return. Ah, yeah, it is a bug in WebSocket. So what happens is this closed delegate is then unregistering the connection is. How does the connection get set to null? Oops, I hit the wrong button. Go back. Okay, maybe I'm not understanding this bug here. Definitely a bug in WebSocket, though. It has to do with this close delegate being called, and then the other WebSocket is going to call it back and close its end. Actually, it's going to end up destroying the other. It's going to end up destroying this. Oh, it's running code that's been destroyed probably. I bet if I looked at this, it's a destroyed object. Or is it's being destroyed? The same object here? No, it's a different one. So the first thing that happens is we clear our own broken delegate, and then we call break on that. So then that turns around and calls break on the other side, which ends up in the broken delegate, calls connection broken, and then it's calling close, and close calls on close, and on close checks the close delegate, which I thought that would have been cleared. I guess not. Oh no, that closed delegate's going to be inside our coordinator. This is too tall for me. Yeah, it would have been this side. So yeah, that then drops it, which will end up destroying it, which that's why we end up destroying the other guy. Oh, which would have, yeah. Is it actually destroying this one? Let me think about this. It shouldn't. I don't see how this connection could have been set to null. because this is holding a strong reference. We could probably see the reference count in here. Actually, I can't see it. Oh, no, it says one strong reference. Yeah, so it's not destroyed yet. Is it that the outer object got destroyed? Is that the problem? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Okay, I don't want to spend a lot more time hitting my head against this bug. I think I'm going to put this in the notes as something to look at later. So look into WebSocket, close, destroy issue. Well, I think that's enough for me to remember it. And right now I'm just going to hack it so that it does not call this if it's null. So I'm just going to recognize that there's a possibility that calling that results in the connection becoming null. And I'll just put in a temporary hack here. So it'll be like this, and I'm going to put a note with it, and connection not equal to null pointer, and I'll say note. Come back and review this to look for a better solution. That ought to be enough for me to... Actually, that might not be enough unless I see notes and or VOD for a stream 73. Then if I lose track of this, I should be able to recover. To do, exactly. Ooh, it's actually worse. Uptime, yep, been going for, yeah, that's right, hour and 12 minutes. Oh, is it the close that's... What's the exception here? The arrow operator returned null. What arrow operator? Oh, is it in the arguments? Ah, yeah, look at that. Look at that. It's another place where I have that problem. So that's yeah. So on close, is that where it was? I forget where it was. I have to find it again. All right, there it is. So I'm sacrificing a diagnostic log message just to get around this issue. Hopefully there's not many more of these. And that was it. Okay, so dutifully noted to do and come back later. I've kind of lost track of the original issue I was doing. Let me look at the git changes to figure that out. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's right. It wasn't a new feature. I was just reworking this so that I could have two back-to-back WebSockets to do all the encoding and decoding for me. All right, so yeah, so now I have to do the same thing everywhere else. And this is kind of an onerous thing to do every test. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it into the fixture. So it makes it something that every test has available, and tests don't have to use them, but they can if they want to. So it'll be like this. And we just have to actually have to make them properties. So con server client, const server, and then remove these const autos. Actually, you know what? I can just move the whole line. It doesn't like auto is the only thing. Which is a bummer. I would like auto to work in that context, but for some reason it doesn't. And same thing with the... I'm not going to bother to... I usually comment everything, but it's really kind of excessive to do it in test fixtures and mocks. All right. Oh yeah, thanks for that. Should I put that in the note too, right? That's a good idea. I need to get into the habit of doing that. It was the 112 mark, right? Thank you. That's a good idea. All right, so now we have a nice pipeline that we can use to give a nice server-side WebSocket to any coordinator we want. And the tests don't need to do very much. Where was it? It'd be hard for me to find it now. Actually, the little indicators here tell me. I just do WS server and I use WS client to talk to it. So let's go through and do that. So here, we don't need all this junk anymore. So instead of org at WS, we just say WS server. And then the act is WS client, send text. And then the text messages are different here and there. Much cleaner. Goes there. This stuff gets cleaned away. Actually, I can just steal that line. Because that's the same, right? Oh, just to double check. Actually, the editor tells me it's the same. Oh, that was part of the arrange anyway. And then, okay, this is a little bit different. Close false, right? I need to think. If that has to be totally synchronous, otherwise I'm going to have issues of race conditions. So I think that's synchronous. So I'm going to count on it for now to be synchronous. So server. Further cleaning. Here's the message. All this can go. Okay, that wasn't in the act. Right, so it's server, right? Yes. Oh, here we needed 2. So, this is a special case, so I will just take that code. And redo it for the second connection. Just put a 2 on the end. And then get rid of the 1. This is WS server. WS client. Ah, yeah, so this goes. This is just WS server 2. And then WS client 2. Send the same message, right? Right, because it's the same instance. and it's the latest, so it'll be WS server 2. Right. So get a faster and faster, the more of these I have to do. Send the text. It goes here. How many more do I have? A lot of similar things, only slightly different. Oh, that's the wrong thing, isn't it? No, that's the right thing. That is the right thing. Okay. Getting there, my friends. Need to teach yourself to do comments and unit tests. And to note. Yep. Yep. Well, some people don't like to do comments and unit tests because it takes a long time, and it really is an initial drain on your productivity. The objective is it for it to eventually be a net gain. And it's hard to measure sometimes because it comes down to how much time did it save you from maybe there are fewer bugs you faced, or it helped you catch bugs faster, and it's really hard to measure that, especially if it's at a company and they're asking you to make progress, and it's hard to argue with them, hey, well, it's going to take longer to get started up, but in the long run it'll be good. It's really hard sometimes to justify. But me being my own boss, justified. All right. Oh, what? Did I not? I see that above. Did I not fix that? Now I'm gonna feel dumb if there's still a problem with the WebSockets and I didn't fix it. There is still a problem. Oh, I think I know what it is. It's in the order. Is it in the order of destruction? No, it's me moving it into the text fixture. I broke it somehow. Oh, the peer is not set. Yeah, I think I forgot those lines. And that's, yeah, okay. I think I know what I did. Yeah, I removed those lines by accident. So, where was that? Down here, right? I have to actually connect the two. So, client peers con server. Con server. And I think I need to do it in one other place, right? Where I had a number 2 set. So, WS server 2. Yeah, I need to do it here too. Okay, hopefully that was the why it got broken. Yep. Okay, so now I can extend the filter and make sure I didn't break anything else. Okay, there are a couple things I broke, it looks like. How were they broken? Oh. Let's let Visual Studio tell us. So I'll remove the filter from the run there. And let it tell me let me tell it what happened. Let it tell me what happened. Ah, okay, so the break thing is broken. Where do I see that happen? Right here, this. I wonder if it's a similar thing as before. Yep. Oh, peer is empty. Is it just this test case? Oh, these are okay. Yeah, these are earlier test cases. Yeah, I just forgot to convert those. Yeah, these are some earlier test cases I forgot to convert over. So this is just WS server. There's another one here, right? And WS client, oops, client, close. Hey, Kenkomatics, how's it going? Ooh, I missed one. Okay, there's something still broken. Dropped when disconnected. That's the one I just edited. What did I do wrong here? I don't know. It's one of those exception ones though, so Visual Studio has been my pal today in helping me see the places where exceptions are thrown. Empty again. Is this test not set up right? Ooh, okay, I completely missed that one. The test on 426. Yeah, minimize that. I missed it, yeah, and just another one I missed. Yeah, right now I'm refactoring my tests so that my tests no longer have to... Oh, there's another one down there, look at that. My tests no longer have to know the WebSocket protocol. They set up 2 WebSockets, and the 2 of them do the protocol. I don't have to do it in my tests. Close, right? You know, there's more. There's a bunch I missed. I should actually be looking at the site here about the areas of the file I did not touch. That should be a clue to me. And then I should do an org WS search. Okay, there are no more references, so hopefully that caught them all. Wrong window. This one. Okay, back to sanity. So this check-in was all refactoring the tests to get rid of all the custom WebSocket encoding junk. It looked like this. We got rid of all this crap. It's now done by a second WebSocket, and all we need to do now is just send the actual message, and then the client's WebSocket encodes it, sends it through basically a pass-through connection to another connection, which goes to a server-side WebSocket, which then delivers it to the unit under test. So it's a bit elaborate, and that's because I'm not using a mock WebSocket, I'm using the real thing. Another way I could have done this is just mock the WebSocket, but that would actually require that I make the WebSocket mockable, and right now it's not. Is that even a word? Mockable? I would have to make it implement a pure virtual interface that I could then derive differently to mock it. All right, so let's see. Coordinator tests, refactor tests to remove WebSocket protocol. Okay, that's too long. We'll make this the body. Refactor test to remove web's protocol details from the actual tests. Instead, okay, let's change this around. Remove WebSocket protocol details from the actual tests. Instead, use 2 WebSockets and let them talk to each other just let them talk to each other. And the overall is remove WebSocket protocol internals from tests. Yeah. Good enough for me. And I don't think I need to keep pushing because I usually push regularly if I'm either working with someone else who wants to get my changes right away, or if I'm updating an open source component that a viewer might want to see right away. But in this case, this repository is private and I'm the only developer, so I'm gonna just push it later. The advantage is if I find a bug, I can amend it and I won't have to do a revert. Okay, so next test, I think. Yeah, so now it's all set up so we can actually read the test easier. And this that I discovered yesterday was actually an Atom meme, which is fine. I'm going to propagate that. So we're going to actually establish connections. So it's not that the test tells the coordinator to connect. It's really we should expect, this use case is we should expect the coordinator to try to make the connection in the first place as soon as it's mobilized. So the arrange will start out like this. I think what we want to do is actually before we mobilize, we need to set up a WebSocket. How does this work? The WebSocket is configured with a factory to make new connections, if I remember right. Let me look for that. Well, maybe it's using a default and we have to override it. I don't actually remember. Let me look. The WebGate here. How does it... Oh, wait a minute. No, it doesn't have any machinery at all to make new connections. So we're all going to have to add brand new stuff. Oh, no, we have this. Transport factory. Where's that used? Oh, that's to make the server end. Is that... How did I hook that up in the mock? Did I have... Oh, we're not using the real WebGate. That's why. Okay, so... Yeah, so it's just not in the interface at all. We're going to need to add it. So it actually, okay, that now I've gotten reoriented. So what we should expect is within a certain amount of time. So we have to actually, the act will be to wait a certain amount of time and then expect that the mock WebGate has been asked to make a connection, right? So I don't like unit tests actually waiting in real time. So what I've done in the past, like if you look at the WebGate tests, is I'll actually have a mock timekeeper, and then we can kind of turn the clock forward and expect that the component will use the timekeeper object rather than waiting in real time. And basically make a timeout whenever we want it to. So I think we'll do the same thing. So we'll grab a mock timekeeper, paste it here. And I don't know if it's okay to leverage HTTP libraries interface. If the WebGate already does that, then we're fine. Let's see if what did I decide to do here? Yeah, see, it's clean of HTTP detail. So I think what we'll end up doing is we'll be making a WebGate timekeeper. Or no, a coordinator timekeeper, right? Yeah, so we'll make it realm server coordinator, or actually let's just make a first a top level class on the realm server called timekeeper, or an interface. It'll be timekeeper interface. Yeah. So I'll just do what I did in the HTTP library, where I had a timekeeper.http, and I'll just make a copy over to realm server include. There we go. And so it's unable to, it keeps saying that. It has something to do with the CMake problems today. This is realm server timekeeper, not HTTP, but it's going to be the same interface, just to keep it from coupling in its API with HTTP. So it could be used independent of HTTP. Actually, I wonder if I can just replace all. This represents the timekeeping requirements of realm server components in general. To integrate realm server components, together, comma, implement this interface in terms of the actual server time. Makes sense to me. Okay, so where we'll use this. Let's go from the test backwards. I should have done that from the beginning, actually. Interesting that it didn't autocomplete that. I don't think I needed to do this, but maybe I did. Reference it in CMake. And then run the configure CMake. Should find that header now, so it knows about it. Maybe that affects IntelliSense, I don't know. Actually, let's see. Let's see if it did. It did not. I think it's just broken. And this is maybe a symptom of it. Anyway, we'll move on. The what? What am I saying? The test itself, right. Actually, let's do it in the fixture so that this all benefits from it. So it'll be, it doesn't really matter where I do it. I'll do it here. Coordinator, set timekeeper, and we'll just give it the mock timekeeper, which means you need to make a mock timekeeper. I'll document these later, I think, or not at all. I'm on the fence about documenting things inside of test fixtures and tests. I kind of feel like the tests are second class sometimes as far as documentation, that the tests ought to be readable enough, because a lot of the times I talk about tests as being the documentation of the code. So it's not going to change. Const shared pointer, mock timekeeper. Make shared. Not 100% a touch typist. I sometimes glance down. You would think that after all these years I would be 100% touch typist, but not the case. Coordinator. Yes, here it's important to put in the interface here. Actually, is it? Yeah, it is, because it's on the same level as this subscribe. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm wrong. Yeah, it doesn't go in the interface. The interface is for methods that its peers will talk to, like the other parts of the system, but the dependency injection is at a layer above, so that it knows the final class, so it goes here, along with the backdoor methods. So yeah, it goes here. Shared pointer, timekeeper. Here I do document it because it's actual code. So this method is called to provide the object used to track time for the server. So you get the benefits of dependency injection and testability when you separate components enough so that the coordinator doesn't know how to track time at all. It has to be told to use this object to track it. So in the real server, I'll use a class which actually uses the real system time. In the test framework, I'll use a timekeeper that just fakes it, so that the whole idea is, not the whole idea, but the additional benefit is the test can run quicker than they would otherwise need to if we need to wait for timeouts to happen. This is the object used to track time in the server. Cool. So go to where this is, where it is defined, and its brother goes next to it. Coordinator. Easy peasy. Just set it. Timekeeper equals timekeeper. Wait a minute. Does it already have a timekeeper? It doesn't. It's just the IntelliSense is all screwed up for me. Timekeeper would go here, I guess. Or, well, it might going into the aggregates, but it'll go here for now. We'll have all new things go here for now. And why write the documentation again when I can just copy paste? Okay, it probably needs to include its own, the header for that. Let's see if that builds so far. All right, it does not. And, oh, I think I crashed VS Studio. No, it's just lagged. Maximum call stack size. Oh, look at this. I am breaking VS Code today. And it's when I hit F8. Wonderful. Ooh. I can't even go to the header file? It's really screwed up. Wow, look at that. Let's close all the files. I really got it screwed up, didn't I? Okay, my timekeeper header is including something that doesn't exist. Actually, I was wondering, I kind of saw that and I was wondering why it was there. We don't need that. We don't even need functional or memory, do we? We don't even need standard int. There's nothing here that we need from the standard library. Still a problem. And another problem is I can't see the errors here because IntelliSense is screwed up. Yeah, something's wrong with my VS. Look at that. It's flickering and stuff. Bad news. Feels bad, man. Okay, we'll do it the old school way. I'll look at the file name and the line number and I'll go to it. 84. Usually these errors are really indicated by the one that follows. This is annoying me. Come on, VS Code, what are you doing to me today? Okay, what is the error here? Undeclared identifier when it gets to line 84 of this file. The undeclared identifier is timekeeper. It doesn't know timekeeper, but it should have because I thought I included the header. Oh, I didn't. No, but it's included there. It's not. No, I didn't. I must have added it to the wrong place. Or I'm just going crazy today, which you never know, could happen. Yeah, JST brains ideas? JetBrain ideas? Hey, but look, it's building. I don't care anymore about my errors because they're gone. I don't know what the errors were. I'm just guessing. It must have been all related to that timekeeper include not being there. Yeah, so it's gonna build, but we didn't do enough to make it pass our test. Actually, I haven't even written a test yet, have I? Not quite. Right, I was on the fixture, that's where I was. The fixture sets the mock timekeeper. And, right, so what we do to make it act is we tell the mock timekeeper to advance its clock. So we need to advance it past when it should have made an attempt to contact the other server. So let's just give it a second, right? They're expensive, free for students and teachers though? Are you talking about the IDE that you use? Yeah. VS Code has been really good to me until today. I wonder if I need to do a check of any extensions, if they might have been updated. I don't know. Okay, so advance the time, and still, it's not enough to just advance the time because that time is going to be polled at a pretty quick interval, but still a non-zero interval anyway. So we need to actually wait a little bit. I think the pattern I've been using in the past is I will set something that we can wait on. So I know I just learned how to use this, I think, and we'll test my knowledge. So I'll try to use a promise and its corresponding future. So we'll assume that there's a future stored in the what? In the mock WebGate. So we'll assume it has a future named connection requested. And then we'll actually, to get IntelliSense minimally working, I should make that a future. So that is a future. And we put that in the right place. That's mock WebGate. So standard future. And I don't know what type we need, so we'll just make it void for now. Connection requested. So say connection requested dot, right, wait for, and we give it a maximum amount of time we're willing to wait. So standard chrono, at least, like I would say, a rule of thumb, double the polling interval. And I like to use 50 millisecond polling intervals, so we'll have it wait up to 100 milliseconds. So we're going to, I guess, assert. I guess we can do expect equals. So what do we expect it to return? It has this weird return values. Future status ready. Yes, we'll expect it to be ready within 100 milliseconds. How come it didn't like that? Oh, because I missed this parentheses. So it will basically wait for a connection to be requested within 100 milliseconds. That's what it's saying. And then we should assert the side effect is that the connection request should show up somewhere. Right? It'll be of the form server and port, right? So we'll just expect equal. And I think I want it to use the private host names. So what is the private host name we were configuring it to use? This one. Private address. So we'll expect that exact string for, we'll have the mock WebGate let's have it keep a record of the information it's been requested. So mock WebGate connection requests. Well, first of all, let's expect only one of them, which means it's probably an assert. Greater than, it doesn't matter if it's greater than one. No, it doesn't, because it actually will be multiple. So greater than or equal to 1, the number of connection requests. I expect it to be a vector. So the very first one, we expect it to try to connect to localhost. Where did I learn network programming? Do you suggest any books or resources in particular? And hi, Desoko. So Desoko, where I learned network programming, it was a very old book. I don't know if it's the best resource anymore, but let me find it. Hold on. New window. It was called Unix network programming? No, that's not it. If I can't find it in a few more searches, I'll give up. It was, no, it wasn't Unix. It was like TCP IP. It's like a famous book. It'll probably show up TCP IP illustrated. I learned from this book, like literally. So, I don't know if it's still relevant. It's a really old book, 1994. So that kind of gives a hint about how old I am. But that was an awesome book in explaining networking. I really got a whole lot from that. So if it's still relevant, I don't know if it is, but I totally recommend that book. And it's got a sister book that it has got the same publisher and everything, but it's for Unix. And that was also a really good book to learn Unix. Yeah, so Richard Stevens. Oh, Richard, see? Good guy. Um, I just don't know if it's relevant anymore, but that's a really great foundation, at least for me. And then from there, picking up different protocols. Like for example, I wanted to know how to do WebSockets. Literally, what I did is I did WebSocket. Yeah, you can see here in my search history, I did WebSocket RFC, and hey, look, there's a standards document about it. You may or may not like to read standards documents, so they may or may not be too detailed or hard to read. But I thought this one was okay. It does get into some of the nitty gritty details, but I kind of like that it goes into like exactly what are the bytes that are gonna be expected in each direction on the connections and stuff like that. And it's very precise, and so there's probably a more approachable book, but once I got that foundation in from a book like the TCP/IP Illustrated, I found I could read and understand individual protocols like the WebSocket protocol, and I think I looked up TLS, and I understand the basics of that enough to use a TLS library. So yeah, just building off of different specific documents about specific things, but you need that good foundation that where it gives you that intuitive approach to understanding something that's been added on to networking since the foundations were laid back in the. It's been a long time. When was the internet invented? In the 60s, 70s, something like that. I guess that you can look up TCP, and that'll tell you how old the internet is. 1981. Well, there you go. That's how old it is. So those are the foundations. If you understand the foundations, I think everything else kind of follows from that. Okay, so this I need to qualify. It is the host name. Host name? Host? What have I been calling it? Host. And then we'll have a port. So what do I expect it will try to reach out to? The private port, I expect it to go to the private port of instance 1, so it'll be 8184. So this is what I expect to happen just in the narrow confines of what do we expect when that we expect it to try to connect. So maybe I should just say connect to other instance attempted. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, any question you have, I'll try to answer. My answers might not be that great, but I'll try to answer them. So we're just going to step by step. We're going to make sure that attempt to connect is made. And then I think these other tests I envisioned before kind of follow from that. This reconnected. This should just be connect. That it might succeed the first time, it might fail the first time. That it might try a second time and it might succeed, and the second time might fail, and that kind of covers all of the different possibilities that the third and so on follow from the first and the second, right? Okay, so this is requiring a lot of infrastructure from the WebGate, so we're going to have to enhance some stuff, which actually WebGate is its own testable module, so we might have to go back and add test cases to the WebGate to make it do what it's supposed to do. I can do that later though, because I have this separation. Only the mock WebGate has to have this extra stuff in it. Connection request. So let's just make that right here. So let's make a type. Connection request. Put the things that we need in it. I'm not going to bother document right now. It's host and port, right? And then we're going to have a collection of these connection requests. So vector of connection requests. So that should get it to compile, right? Did I miss something? It doesn't like that. I did do that right, didn't I? Oh, I put it in the wrong class. Put it in mock connection, not mock WebGate. It goes there. And then this goes down here. There we go. So that's enough to build. So I like to build and verify test fails as soon as possible, even though I know I'm not nearly done. And this will craft our little filter here. At the pace I'm going, what is it? It's been almost 2 hours. I'm not going to get to the consensus algorithm today. So if you're here for the consensus algorithm, that's probably going to be tomorrow, unfortunately. Sorry, it's being a little bit slower than I thought it would be. Oh, that's probably because I needed to have a... No, I have an assert, so what's going on? Oh, it's probably this future isn't set up, right? Yeah, no state. Yeah, so we should set that up. Connection requested, right? That should be something we set up in... We should have a constructor for this mock web gate. So that we need a promise for that, right? So the promise is the sender end, so let's rename this. Was connection requested, and connection was well, I don't know the right words to use here. I'm new to promise and future, but it's like we want to set that the connection was requested, and then we want to check if the connection was requested. How about we say connection was requested and the connection is requested? So present future, right? So connection was requested, we get from doing a get on the get future on the is requested. So now hopefully it won't crash, but it should fail because that's never ready. Ooh. I got a debug assertion in the Visual Studio seed runtime library. Vector out of range. Vector out of range. Actually, I'm curious why I got a vector out of range. Let's run it in the... I'm falling back to Visual Studio when I run into these things. Maybe I don't need to. Maybe I could do this in this debugger. We'll give this debugger a chance at first. Okay, I'm giving you a chance, debugger. Okay, it says retry to debug. Okay, okay, it did work. Interesting. So I assumed that the assert would not let us go to that line. Assert greater than... Oh, is it the other way around? Did I get it backwards? I think I might have gotten it backwards. So when you have a less than or greater than, I think it's the other way around. Yeah, so... Oh, yeah, well, okay, there was complaining about that before, it was just crashing. Now it's complaining about the future not being ready, and then actually stopping for good when it sees that there's no connection request. Okay, cool. So, I guess it really doesn't make sense to just expect we can have it end early. Yeah, so it just ends early. I'm actually surprised that Google Test doesn't... Oh no, it does. It does say. But whenever you see this 4-byte object and it has the raw bytes, that means that there was no pretty print function for a type. So I guess standard future status doesn't have a pretty print function. Yeah, sorry about that sound. Let me think about this. Need to look into if there's something that can let me change or mute all my Windows sounds while I'm streaming. Look for tool script. to change mute all Windows sounds only while streaming. First connection to yeah. So how do we get a connection to be requested in the first place? I think what we'll do is we'll build then building backwards from the test in order to actually set this that it was requested. We'll expect there to be a virtual method of WebGate that the coordinator will call to make the actual request. So let's just imagine it's going to be virtual connection can fail. It's a synchronous call, so it's going to be bool. I guess we'll call it make connection. Or no, then it's going to expect something back. Be most convenient for it to deal in WebSockets since it receives WebSocket. Maybe it will get one back if it asks for a new one. Yeah, let's do it that way. Except for, is it something we can do synchronously? No, it's asynchronous, right? Because it might take some time for at the HTTP layer for it to receive back a response, and we don't. Well, maybe we could just have it block. Is it okay to block the WebGate waiting for a connection? I expect to do it from a worker thread anyway. We will just keep it simple, so we'll have it return a WebSocket if it succeeded. Otherwise, it'll return a null pointer. That's what we'll do. So this will be the interface. Make connection. So it only really needs to know the host name, right? And the port number. Override. So of course that's not going to build right away because I don't have a base class method. That's going to tell me that right there. Does not override anything. So, but let's first make it do the right thing. Well, for now, we don't need to actually have it return anything. But we do need to satisfy this promise. Actually, what happens if you set a promise twice? I don't know. I should look that up. What happens if you call set value twice on a promise? Does it ignore the second time? Does it crash? Does it throw an exception? This is why I look things up in manuals. So promise set value. An exception is thrown if there's no share state or the share state already stores a value. So I don't really want to handle exceptions. I think what I'll do is I will only set it if it's the first one. So we'll say if connection requests size equals, I'll do this last basically. So that will notify the main thread to wake up. But now we need to actually append something to connection requests. So I'm going to push back. I'm kind of writing this backwards. I'll start writing it forwards from here. I wonder if that irks people if I sometimes switch from writing backwards to writing forwards. Port equals port. So that's all we really need to do. This standard move prevents us from accidentally making a copy because we don't need to make a copy. We just need to transfer its ownership into the vector. And then if it's the first one, we will notify the, we'll satisfy the promise that the future can be ready. And we won't actually manufacture a WebSocket yet, but I will soon. So we just need to make this work, compile. We need to actually put that in the virtual base class of the WebGate. Down here. So it's a pure virtual in the interface that we do with equals 0. It's dealing in WebSockets. I think we're good because we're dealing in WebSockets on receiving connections. So it's actually nice and symmetrical. So this method is called to synchronously attempt to connect it's really only going to be used to connect to other Realm servers, so I'll just make it explicit. Well, okay, no, from the perspective of the WebGate, it doesn't know what a Realm server is. It only knows about port numbers it needs to bind. So we'll just say connect to a web server and upgrade the connection to a WebSocket. Right? Param host. This is the host name or IP address of the server to which to connect. Scroll down. This is the port number of, again, of the server to which to connect. Alrighty, and then it's going to return normal return value. The new WebSocket connection to the server is returned, but then there's a retval null pointer, special return value, special case. This is returned if there's any issue that results in the WebSocket connection. There is any issue that results. This is bad English. How do I say this better? The connection could not be made. Yeah, there we go. So I could compile now, but I know it won't actually build because we have a real WebGate that's being built. So the real WebGate has to actually implement this somehow. We can have it implemented with nothing, which is what I'm tempted to do at first, and then we'll fill it in later. It's down here, right? Yeah. So we'll just have it, we'll fill it in right now and have it do nothing. Just have it return null pointer, so it never actually does what it's asked to do, which is fine. Oh, no void, what am I doing? Okay, now it should build. And actually it should, no, the framework is set up to know if the coordinator did it, but a coordinator doesn't actually do it yet, so it won't work. So it still fails, right? We just have to go one step further back, which is that I think we're done with the test, but the thing we're testing is not doing the right thing, right? So we mobilize it. What we expect is that when the mobilize happens, that in under a second's time, it should try to make a connection. So we'll just have it, we'll do the minimal work in order to make that happen. Because this is asynchronous, mobilize has to return right away, and then sometime later, we need to actually make the connection attempt. We have to make a worker thread. Or we could do it with async, but I want a worker thread because it's going to have more work to do. And also I'm more comfortable with worker threads. Hold on a minute. And that, my friends, is my overlay when my dog starts barking, which happens when people come and go. Okay, she might bark again. I might have to mute again, but okay. Flies. All right, I am back. Sorry. Okay, I'm getting a little mixed up. Oh, right. Yeah. Reorientation complete. I need to have some kind of worker thread. So, which means we'll need thread. And we'll need future also, because we'll need to tell the thread when to stop. Okay, that should be good enough for the includes. Let's make a thread called worker. This thread performs any background tasks required of the coordinator, such as making new connection, attempting new connections, attempting to make new connections to other servers. Not yet. We'll just end there. Okay. No, future. Future. You think about this. Is it a? No, we just need a promise. We'll get the future and then wait for it in the when we're joining the worker thread. And it doesn't matter what it returns back. So this is worker, a stop worker. Okay. How come it doesn't like that? It does. Okay, it just took a while. IntelliSense is struggling today. Okay. This is set when the worker thread should stop. Right, we'll get the future in the worker thread. That's how it works. See, I'm still new to futures and promises. I used to use condition variables with flags, but once I learned future and promise, it's a lot cleaner. You don't actually need a mutex anymore, at least for that synchronization point, so to speak. So what we will do, we need a method. Let's put it here. Call it capital worker. And we will say this, well, actually, I'm just going to repeat this. This runs in a thread which performs any background. Yes, okay, good. Well, I got something in my eye. Excusez-moi. All right, so the general outline of a worker in general, when I said general twice, I didn't mean to, is first we're going to get, well, we can say auto, right? Can I say const? I think it's just auto. The worker asked to stop, right? Is equal to stop worker get future, and then is that going to resolve? Okay, yeah. So while stop a worker asked to stop, is it wait for with the 0 timeout? Is that how to poll it? I don't remember. Actually, we don't really need to do any. Well, no, I'm gonna immediately want to do stuff with the. I know we'll make this the main polling frequency. So we'll do wait for, and we'll have a polling frequency. So worker polling, well, not frequency, but period, is not equal to worker asked to stop. No, it's just standard future status ready, right? And then we'll do junk, and then afterwards we don't even need to get the future. We can just exit, right? So we just need this polling period defined. Const standard chrono I forget how we used to define this stuff. Can you just do that and say that is I guess I'm going to end up repeating the type again, but that's okay. The type is another clue that is specified in milliseconds, I suppose. I don't know if that's the best way to do it or not. This is the amount of time to wait between polling for various conditions in the worker thread. The coordinator. All right. So how are we going to start and stop it? I think that is through the mobilization. So configure, yeah. So I had yesterday, I planted these comments to remind myself to refactor these into separate methods. So I still need to do that, but not right now. I admit that they need to be refactored, but I'm not going to do it right now. So start the worker thread. So there are two things I need to do, right? So first is to replenish the promise, because you can only get the future once. So it's stop worker, or impl stop worker equals promise, like that. You can do that, right? And then impl worker equals standard thread, address of impl worker capital, this. And then demobilize is the other way around. So after this, check to make sure it's not done twice. We do, actually, it might be better to do it this way. If impl worker joinable, then we do impl stop worker set value, and then impl worker join, right? So that I'm doing this incrementally. I know that this still doesn't make the connection attempt, but I want to make sure it compiles and at least runs correctly for everything else. And it doesn't build because I missed something. F8 is gonna again get me in trouble, so shoot. I really need to fix that. And go to the top. How about we clear this and try again? This is probably a better way to do it, isn't it? Why is it not letting me invoke a thread? I think that's the key line. 313. Oh, it's not this. It's impl get. You have to be really careful using a get of a unique pointer though. Especially when you pass it to a thread. You have to make sure you join the thread before the actual object dies. But that, I think the point of this design when I use mobilize, demobilize is that you ought to demobilize before you destroy something. Actually, I don't know if I have a check for that to make sure. Let me make a note of that. Make sure there are checks that objects are demobilized. Just say demobilized before they're destroyed. That's lowercase. Yeah, how am I going on time? 2:20? Yeah, I think I'll get this test to work and then I'll probably call it and continue tomorrow. It's going a bit slower than I thought. So yeah, I'm gonna barely get into this, and then this is gonna be tomorrow, I think. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Did that fix it? All right, good. And I'm just gonna run all the tests to make sure. No, it broke something. Fine, I broke it. How did it break? And don't know. Probably because I didn't set. I'd set a filter. Okay. Try without a filter. Interesting. Okay. When that fails, I run Visual Studio. Waiting for the compiler. Okay, there. That's interesting. Huh. Let's try that again. This time I'll tell it to build rather than just run. Okay, it's building a lot of things it shouldn't have had to. Oh, like because I changed. It's rebuilding WebGate. It's still exiting early for some reason. Oh yeah, there was a trick to catch this. It's new breakpoint, function breakpoint abort. There we go. So it's aborting in a destructor. Why would it abort in a destructor? Let's load the symbols for this. Load. Loading symbols for, I guess that's Universal C runtime library. The base of it, the debug version. Loads it from the Microsoft symbol server. Okay, there's the abort. It was asked to terminate. A thread was being destroyed. No, a thread. Oh, a thread is being destroyed while it's joinable. Oh, I think I know what's going on. This is the thing I just made a note about, to make sure there are checks that objects are demobilized before they're destroyed. This one's not being demobilized. Where is it not being demobilized? It's actually hard to see because it doesn't tell me which test it's in. It's because it's part of the fixture. So one of the tests caused this to happen. So probably we should handle it in the fixture. I think the safe enough thing to do is in the test fixture, we just always demobilize the unit under test before it gets destroyed. So let's go to the test fixture. And we'll go to, what's it, cleanup? No. Tear down. Tear down, please. Oh, we're already there. Right, so unregistered delegate, and we'll just call demobilize in case it didn't get called. Hoping that was it. Yeah, that was it. So yeah, we're back to just this one doesn't work. Connect to other instance. Because we haven't finished the code for that. But at least now we know that we're spawning a worker thread and that we're correctly joining it when we want to demobilize. So now we just need to have the worker thread occasionally try to make a request for anything that's not connected. So that shouldn't be too hard. We have a place to do it in now, right? The worker. So here's our loop in our worker thread. So every time we wake up and we're not asked to stop yet, I think what we'll do is we'll run through all of the, we have a collection here, right? Of other instances. And we'll try to look for ones that don't have a connection. Actually, easy thing would be to run from 0 to the number of instances, skipping ourselves, of course. And if something's not in the map, just try to make a connection. That'd probably be the easiest. So for size t, I equals 0, I is less than serve. You know, we don't have, should probably cache this, right? It took several steps to get the number of servers before. Where was that? It was right here. I'm thinking we ought to just cache all this stuff. Actually, we don't really need to cache it. We can just get it once. Right there. There we go. Got it once. Don't need that. This is aggregates. And we're in another thread context, so we might race other things. So I think we need to hold that mutex that we made in the aggregates as well, right? We had a lock guard for that. Yeah. So we're going to, actually, we're going to be blocking sometimes. So you know what I'm going to do is, we'll make one pass through. Yeah, we'll do this using worker threads. So we'll make a pass through to collect all of the instances we need to connect to. So that will be here. Const auto instances missing. So find missing instances. And then we'll just loop through them all. So for auto instance missing and instances missing. We'll just try, we'll go to our web gate and ask to connect us. So, and we don't even need to hold on to the connection because we don't need to satisfy this first test. So we'll just keep it simple. It'll be void aggregates web gate. How come I'm not getting my IntelliSense? Is WebGate not in the aggregates? It's not. Oh, we gotta move it there then. Actually, there's the timekeeper too. Well, that'll be another test as well. We'll check that. We need to have a test to make sure that it doesn't immediately try to connect. It should connect after a timeout, and the timeout's value depends on a range of time given by the algorithm I want to implement tomorrow. So we'll wait until tomorrow to do that. Instead, we'll just put the web gate there to begin with, and we don't need that. The web gate's there now, right? Hold on, before I do that, I need to resolve some of these missing symbols, otherwise it's going to get really confused. Right, so yeah, it's confused about this type because it's in my anonymous namespace. It's a realm server iWebGate. Okay, so actually maybe this will resolve now. Okay, good. So we make a connection and we're going to ask for the host number. So the host is servers config index by instance missing. Actually, let's do it in 2 steps, right? So const auto missing instance config is that. And then make a connection missing instance config. I know the port's in there. Where actually where's the config? Where'd I put it? Oh, no, it's in here. Right, so it's host and private port. Got it. Host. Private port, and this one needs to be int qualified because of my lame JSON class. So that ought to do it. It'll actually try to make the connection. Won't do anything with it, but it'll at least try. So we just need to implement this one. So what should we do? Let's keep it simple. A set would be the simplest, wouldn't it? So standard set of size t's. Yeah, set's good. But standard int, I don't have that. I should include standard def. Standard def you want to include for size t. Line missing, there we go. So document first. This method figures out the instance. Well, figures out, just returns the instance numbers of all other realm servers to which this server is not already connected. Okay, that's what it does. And then it's simply that is returned, or are returned. The instance numbers of all the realm servers to which this server is not connected are returned. Okay, so we're going to make the set to begin with. And we're going to eventually return it. So instead of writing from forward or backward, I'm doing it from outwards in. So we start with an empty set, and at the end we're going to return it. In the middle, think this is where we would need to lock the mutex because we're going to access a shared state. The what is it called? Other instances map, because that can change if we receive a new connection. It could actually be changed from another thread, so we got to be careful about being thread safe. So we're going to lock. We should probably just lock the whole thing at the beginning, and we don't need impl anymore because we're inside impl. And now that we have the mutex locked, we're guaranteed that the other instances, so const auto other instance, other instances, it's in aggregates, right? We're guaranteed that the other instances isn't going to get changed on us. All right. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't want to do it this way. I wanted to loop and search in other instances, right? Since that is a map, we can do searches. So for size ti is 0 eyes less than, we needed that. Let's cheat and have it pass the number of servers. You just need to say what it is here. This is the total number of servers for the realm. Okay. Num servers plus I. So we're going to do a search. Const auto other instance. And instance is entry. I like to use entry for iterators. Actually, I also like to shorten things. So how about we do it? If actually, we're not even going to need to give it a name. We just say if this dot find I is not equal to that dot end, or if it is equal to, actually, then it's not found. If it's not found, in other words, then missing instances dot insert I. Right? That's all we need to do. So if we cannot find that instance in our instances map, we insert the number into the set of ones that are missing. Do that for all. Oh, we need to make sure we don't include ourselves. So if I equals aggregates instance, continue, skip ourselves. We skip ourselves, and we'll use those numbers down here. That should work. Hopefully. Oh, I got a bunch of errors. WebGates. Oh, yeah, I moved WebGate, didn't I? WebGate got moved to the aggregates. I have a feeling, like I said before, I have a feeling everything is going to get moved there because we're sharing almost everything with callbacks. And actually, why did I move it to aggregates? What callback is using? Maybe I didn't need to move it there. Hold on. I think that might have been a mistake. Let's move WebGate back and see if I can still use it. It's always okay to do this as a test. Although I'm not sure where I moved it from. Around here somewhere? I heard a noise. That was weird. Maybe my speakers are clicking. Yeah, I think I could just do that, right? Yeah, okay. I did not need to move it to aggregates. It's not used from a callback. It's used from a worker. A worker is lifetime is always less than the outer class anyway, so it doesn't need to be in the aggregate structure. Okay, connected, but the host names didn't match. Oh, I think I know. I think I might know why. Actually, that might be a flaw in my configuration here. Oh no, it's a two-step lookup. I got to take that and then find its private address. Yeah. The reason why this is because I'm looking ahead to cloud platforms where machines typically have two IP addresses. One is on a public net, and the other is on the private net. So I want private address to be its address on the private net. whereas the host is the DNS name, which might be a public, which probably I'll make it the public host name. So yeah, I need this to be a two-step process. So it's not just this. So this, yeah, right. I think yeah. The host we want to connect to is the private address, not the public host name. So it's okay. So we'll take that out and we'll say private address. We'll just have to compute that. So that is the public host name. All right, we'll give it a string. Say the type there. Public host name. And then we need to look it up. So const under string private address is the it's from the base configuration, right? Hosts, base configuration hosts, plural, then keyed by the public host name, and then keyed by private address. I could break that up into more sections, but should I? Why is this? Oh, I can't do it outside. I gotta do it inside. That's why. Gotta do it here. Yes. But I can actually, yeah, if I break this up, I can do this one time only. So this part I can do outside. So I can say this is the hosts config, and I can put it up here. Const auto hosts config. Okay. Cool. Let's see if that worked. Yes. So it's making connections. It's probably making a lot of connections because we don't yet have a test. Oh, okay. So I'll wrap it up soon, but before I do, I'm gonna make empty tests for the use cases I know I need. So we're only covering did it try to connect. We should also see does it only try to connect at the correct rate. Well, then that involves the algorithm. So maybe I'll leave that for tomorrow because I know I'm going to do the algorithm tomorrow. So every use case falling out of the algorithm, I'll be thinking about. So what are the things that aren't in the requirements of the algorithm that I know I need? We'll want to make sure that it doesn't try to connect if it's already connected, right? Because this use case started with it not being connected. So we'll say does not attempt to connect to instance with which it is already connected. I want to have a case for that. What else? Probably want one where it resumes trying after the connection's lost, right? Connection reconnect attempt. I will say reconnect attempt after disconnection. Then I already had these other things I thought of before where we want to make sure it does the right thing when it succeeds. And the right thing would be that it needs to identify itself, right? And then it does the right thing when it fails, which should probably be that it makes a second attempt. And then when it does make a second attempt, what does it do if it succeeds and fails, etc.? These actually might be redundant. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up with these things that we handled tomorrow before hitting the actual consensus algorithm. Let's check this in. Well, hold on. I want to make sure this did not break anything. After the stream ends, I'm going to try to figure out why Ninja is no longer working. Someone was asking me yesterday about how to set up Ninja build, and I actually did that. I don't think that would have screwed up CMake because I did it completely outside of CMake and VS. Oh no, I didn't. I did it within. Maybe I screwed up CMake when I tried to use the CMake generator. I'll have to look into that. So yeah, after the stream, I'm going to try to figure out why My VS Code doesn't use Ninja for the build system. It's using VS or msconfig right now. I don't know why. So yeah, I'm just going to make sure everything is still running. Oh, okay, yeah, I have to say C debug now, don't I? Huh. Okay, yeah, I was asked if I want to allow these unit test programs to bind to the network because they're now, the executables are in different directories now. But yeah, nothing's failing, so we'll check this in. Yeah, so we added a timekeeper. There it is. Or the interface to the timekeeper. Coordinator can be told about how to keep time. We're not actually using that yet, are we? WebGate now can be asked to make new connections, but it doesn't actually do it yet. And the coordinator starts a worker thread which attempts to make connections to the servers it's not connected to already. So that's what it is. So how do we say that short? Coordinator, or work in progress, making servers talk to each other. So that's what we tried to do today, right? So WebGate, add make connection method. Or this is in the interface. Place temporary non-working make connection implementation. Too long, so we wrap. Add timekeeper interface. Coordinator. Add method to inject timekeeper, which we don't use yet. Why should I say that? Not yet used. I put that in anticipation of needing to actually have real timeouts before we connect. I didn't actually use it yet. So also in the coordinator, add a worker thread, which attempts to make connections to other realm servers if the connection isn't already in place. Hold on, I want to check something else. What did it expect? What does it do when a connection is dropped? In the closed delegate. Oh, it erases the instance completely. Okay, that's okay for now. We'll change that later. Added the worker thread. Added the connection attempt. That's about it, right? Oh, the tests also demobilize coordinator on teardown to avoid destroying it while it's still mobilized. I just didn't want the test to have to do that, the boilerplate cleanup each on their own. And if it's already demobilized, you call it again second time, it shouldn't matter. We even have a test for that, so that's fine. So, yep, that's about it. Commit. And I'm going to push that. This will be the last commit for the day, I think. And so I can do a little double check. Oh, look at that. Thanks for the follow. Ooh. Rally Monkey just resubscribed. Thank you. And we got a little test of that notification. That's awesome. So bonus points if you know, and Rally Monkey's not as disqualified from this, but bonus points if anyone knows that reference. So yeah, thank you, Rally Monkey. It looks like I've changed WebSockets. Oh, that's right. I have a temporary hack in there, don't I? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll just say here. Hack. Temporary fix for an issue relating to closed races. It's when two things close at the same time. There's some kind of race in between the destruction and the callbacks. So I need to look at that at some point. That kind of thing might take a while with a lot of me banging my head against the virtual wall, so I might not do that on stream. Unless I realize what the bug is, and then I'll wait to stream before I show the fix. Alrighty. Okay, so I think we're good to go for the day. So I hope you enjoyed this day's stream. Although I don't think it was the best stream I've had, but at least we got to test out some of the new notifications, which is nice. I worked a bit on that last night, and I hope you enjoyed the content and come back tomorrow or in the future. If this stuff isn't quite up your alley, but maybe in the future I might be doing something different, you can always add my Discord. It's there's a link below, and really should have a okay. That's something I definitely forgot to have. I wanted to have a command for that. Add Discord command. So there's a link to it. Let me find it. Complicated for me to find it because I have to actually go to my own channel. Make sure I mute myself. Okay, good. And then I just grab the link from there and paste it for you guys. So yeah, please join my Discord if you want to get announcements about what I'll be streaming, or if you want to just ask questions offline, or just want to hang out. I usually keep Discord on all the time, so don't be shy. And let me talk about overall what I did. So if it's something I did and you're coming in at the end now and you want to see, you can go back and watch the VOD, and I'll talk about what I'll do tomorrow. If that's interesting to you, you'll know when to come back. So what I did today, looking at my plan. Yes. So I was working all day today on, well, all day meaning the last how many hours? 2 3/4 hours on having the coordinator component of my game servers connect to each other. So the good news is that they do connect to each other, but right now they're going to connect without any rules about how fast to do it. And there's no consensus algorithm yet. So that's what we're going to work on tomorrow, after first tidying up what happens when you have connection failures. I think actually it's mostly just going to be writing the test. I think the code actually probably is going to do the right thing. Oh, you know what I'll probably have to do also is I'll have to implement make connection in WebGate. So that'll probably need, that doesn't have to happen right away. I'll probably get to the, actually, and I'm not sure. I'll either do servo coherence tomorrow, or I'll do the making connection, the real implementation in the WebGate. Or I might do both. But yeah, so we only really hit the first bullet point today. I got a lot of feedback, and we did have problems with CMake today with the build tool chain. So I need to look into that. And yeah, sort of troubling. Yeah, so that's about it. Let's see who we can go say hi to. I'm just peeking to see who might be going right now. Adam's still going? I think I hosted Adam last time. You know, we'll host Leland this time. So Leland Kwong, he's working on an RPG game. Let me just peek to see if he's wrapping up his stream or not. Oh, he's on break. Okay, so not Leland. Who else? There's Honest Dan Games. Oh, he's playing Undertale. Okay, never mind. I want to show you guys another programmer. There's Rob the Swan. Let's see what he's doing. He's working on this game state render in JavaScript. Yeah, so I don't think I've hosted him ever, but I have him on my follow list. He's a programmer working on JavaScript, and here's his link. We're going to go host him, and yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, I hope. So again, thank you. And I will now introduce you to Rob the Swan. Thanks for coming, and see ya.